Gopi Jana Balaba Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jayarada Madhava Kunjabi Hari Shishirada Madhava Sasaki Ki Jai. Okay. I don't know how loud I can talk. Yes. The ducks that come closer get more bread. Prabhupada said that. Of course, you may not like bread. Also, the ducks that come closer get eaten first. Also. Narayanam namaskrityam Nadam Chaiva Narotamam Devyam Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya Namaste Tejasi Aviravira Baba Vajranaka Vajradamstra Kamasayan Randaya Randaya. That's Prahlad's prayers to Nishingadev. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So today we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavat Purana, the essence of all Vedic wisdom, and also the best of all Vedic wisdom. And we're already in the 10th canto, and this is chapter 12, Breaking the Bow. Breaking the bow? No? Breaking the bow. Bow, bow. Yeah. Okay. Text 15. Tata. What can you read this? Paran. Yeah. Paramahangsa. No. Prichama. I wasn't warned here to give class. Prichamano. Yeah. Boy, can you read it? Can you read it? Yeah. That's the last one. Okay. Tata parana prichamo dhanashasthanamachuta tasmin pravista dadrishe dhanirandam idadbhutam. Lord Krishna then asked the local people where the arena was in which the bow sacrifice would take place. When he went there, he saw the amazing bow, which resembled Lord Indra's. It's interesting because the word for sand in Spanish is arena. Yeah, arena. So arena means, place where there's sand. Yeah. Okay, so Krishna asked the people, "Hey mates, where's the bow?" And they said, "It's over there." He said, "Okay, yeah. Acha, TK. It is that or sar. 4 different people give four different explanations, right? Yeah. Text 16. Purushayar bahubir guptam nirvishcheshtam paramardinam. Wow. Varyayam vidaya krishna prasajya dhanur adide. More or less. That most opulent bow was guarded by a large company of men who were respectfully worshipping it. Okay. Krishna pushed his way forward, and despite the guards' attempts to stop him, he picked it up. Jai. Okay. Now the meter changes, which means probably something's happening here. Yeah. Karena. You want to read it? Read it. Right. Karyena vamanena salilam udritam. I think Radhika said there's like 7 or 8 different meters in the Bhagavatam, maybe more than that. It's a whole lesson in Sanskrit poetics. Okay. Easily lifting the bow with his left hand, Krishna, Lord Urukram, has strung it in a fraction of a second. Wow. As the king's guards looked on, he then powerfully pulled the string and snapped the bow in half, just as an excited elephant might break a stalk of sugarcane. Jai. Wow. Hey, mate. The sound of the bow's breaking filled the earth and sky in all directions. Upon hearing it, Kamsa was struck with terror. Oh, gracious, my death has come. Okay. The enraged guards then took up their weapons and, wanting to seize Krishna and his companions, surrounded them and shouted, "Grab him, kill him." Okay. Griyatam, seize him. Griyatam. What's the other one? Vaikayatam, kill him. Okay. Okay. Grab him, kill him. Okay. Seeing the guards coming upon them with evil intent, Balaram and Krishna took up the 2 halves of the bow and began striking them down. Striking them down. Okay. Cut them down. Okay. Yeah. After also killing a contingent of soldiers sent by Kankra, Krishna and Balaram left the sacrificial arena by its main gate and continued their walk about the city, happily looking at the opulent sights. Having witnessed the amazing deed of Krishna and Balaram had performed, and seeing their strength, boldness, and beauty, the people of the city thought they must be 2 prominent demigods. As they strolled about at will, the sun began to set. So they left the city with the cowherd boys and returned to the cowherd's wagon encampment. Circle the wagons, right? Yeah. So these must have arrived after. First, Krishna and Balaram went there with Akrura, right? And then Nanda Maharaj followed with everybody else. Yeah. So at some point, he and the cowherd boys got together. Yeah. I think it describes that. He said somebody's probably said they came by a different route or something, so it was quicker. They went through the forest or something. So because when Krishna and Balaram arrived, it was like they were already there or something like that. So it says that they went through a different route through the forest or something, and Krishna and Balaram took the main avenue or something like that. So they had their encampment there, and they went back and joined them with their circled wagon carts. It's described in, was it Chaitanya Bhagavat? That when Nimai would go around and challenge all the different Bhattacharyas, like the door would open, and all of a sudden in would come, Krishna and Balaram, and they would say, people here say that they're disciples of Prabhupada, but they don't even know the first thing about Prabhupada's books. So they would come in and just in the doorway like that and say, the person here claims to be big Bhattacharya, but he doesn't even know the basic rules of Sanskrit grammar and stuff. So, and that was the habit at the time. It was like these people, they would challenge each other, and Navadvip was a big center of learning. And so then there would be a big fight, and then Krishna and then Nimai would defeat the scholar, and his students and friends would be behind him, cheering him on. And the professor's students would be cheering him on. In the end, Nimai would defeat the guy. Then he would take exactly the opposite side and then defeat the guy from the opposite side. Yeah. And this was going on. He was going on all over the place. And sometimes somebody would yell out, here comes Nimai Pandit. The professor would run out the back door. I said, I wasn't there. If I had been there, I could have defeated him. I had to run out. And then Srivas Pandit, when he saw Lord Chaitanya, Nimai, walking around like this. I guess he was like the same age as his father, pretty much, And he smiled and laughed and looked at him and said, "O crest jewel of arrogance." O crest jewel of arrogance. You know all the scriptures perfectly, When are you going to become a Vaishnava, And Nimai would blush and said, "Shivas, give me a little more time. I'm having so much fun, And Shivas didn't understand what he meant like that. Give me a little more time. I'm having so much fun, And so Vrindavan Das Thakur, I guess Chaitanya Bhagavat, he says, when everybody would see like Nimai going around, followed by all of his followers, like strutting proudly and everything else, they were all reminded of Krishna and the cowherd boys, like that. And of course it was, right? Yeah, Krishna and the cowherd boys, But Balaram hadn't shown up yet, Somebody was experiencing Krishna consciousness just by seeing Nimai and his 5 friends, like the Krishna and the cowherd boys. So after parading around, what do you call it, like strutting around Mathura, for some time like that, and enjoying the sights, eating cotton candy or something, like this and that. Yeah, whatever. So they went back to their camp at night. Okay. Meter changes again. Okay. At this time of Mukunda's, Krishna's departure from Vrindavan, at the time of Krishna's departure from Vrindavan, Mukunda, the gopis had foretold that the residents of Mathura would enjoy many benedictions, many benedictions. And now the gopis' predictions were coming true. For those residents were gazing upon the beauty of Krishna, the jewel among men. Indeed, the goddess of fortune desired the shelter of that beauty, so much so that she abandoned many other men, although they worshipped her. Jai, Krishna Balaram ki jai. So already we're discussing conjugal ras, not just being friendly and killing demons, but people's hearts palpitating in ecstasy. After Krishna's and Balaram's feet were bathed, the 2 lords ate rice with milk. Then, although knowing what Kamsa intended to do, they spent the night very comfortably. Right? Yeah. So the rice should be cooked until it becomes pudding. Right? Yeah. Then it's like in the evening, very light food like that, huh? Right, some pudding, starch. Wicked King Kamsa, on the other hand, was terrified, having heard how Krishna and Balaram had broken the bow and killed his guards and soldiers, all simply as a game. He remained awake for a long time, and both while awake and while dreaming, he saw many bad omens, messengers of death. Okay, wow, there's a whole long thing about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 verses. When he looked at his reflection, he could not see his head. For no reason, the moon had stars, where the moon and stars appeared double. He saw a hole in his shadow. He could not hear the sound of his life air. My eyes are falling apart here. I have an infection here. Life air. Trees seemed covered with a golden hue, and he could not see his footprints. He dreamt that he was being embraced by ghosts, riding a donkey, and drinking poison. Alas, also, that a naked man, smeared with oil, was passing by wearing a garland of, what kind of? Nalada flowers. Seeing these and other omens, both while dreaming and while awake, Kamsa was terrified by the prospect of death, and out of anxiety could not sleep. Jai. Wow. When the night had finally passed and the sun rose up again from the water, Kamsa set about arranging for the great wrestling festival. Kamsa's men performed the ritual worship of the wrestling arena, sounded their drums and other instruments, and decorated the viewing galleries with garlands, flags, ribbons, and arches. So we go in Harinam, we can have all these things, right? Otherwise, it looks like maybe some kind of political protest movement or something like that, you know. Lower water rates, increase taxes, down with the mayor. And you look at some distances, it's a clang, clang, clang sound, and people moving by over there. You don't know what it is. You see pictures of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's Kirtan groups. They're always flags. You know? And it's colorful flags, right? And also you can have garlands, and you call it arches. You get these festoons made out of, out of this kind of stuff. They make a nice archway like that. And in Manipur, they have a deity on a stick. It's not a palanquin, but it's one vertical stick. And up there is like some kind of little, like a hexagon type shaped little house or something, and some kind of deity like that and stuff. It makes a big difference. And you see all these things. It seems like some kind of festival. Of course, Catholic tradition, they have one Bible which has been used for the last 300, 500, 1200 years or something like that. So they'll take it out with open to a certain page, and they'll take the statue of the Virgin Mary out like that and stuff. And the processions are very nice. They even have Ratha Yatras, right? Have these big floats they build and pull in a procession like that. Same thing. They must have got all this from India. Yeah. And everybody dressed. And so you look at this, it's very impressive, very potent, these festivals. And also there's, for example, Peru, it's coming from Peru. There's a lot of earthquakes down there. We're actually on some kind of tectonic plate juncture here. So going down the Andes, there's a pretty much strong tradition. You keep hearing about it, of earthquakes and so on. Yeah. Actually, we were there at Hari Lila, right? When we were in Cusco. And I was looking we were in Cusco, which is the Inca capital, and after that the Spanish. And I was looking at these big, beautiful, murals, And Hari Lila was walking around looking at the structural features of the church. Like that. His conclusion was it was overkill, right? Overbuild. But it went on for some time, They survived the earthquakes. Huh? I know, they survived the earthquakes, yeah. Overbuild, yeah. So, where was it? There was one time in Lima, there was this terrible earthquake, and all the buildings were falling and people being smashed and crushed everywhere. And a bunch of people ran to this one painting on the wall like that. I think it had been done by an indigenous guy or something. And everything else around it collapsed, but that one wall and that one painting, And all the people there were saved, So they all figured this guy was, this painting of the god was like a bona fide thing. So now every year in Lima, on the anniversary date of that, they have, I don't know, maybe it's going to give them 1 million people that go out for the procession like that and so on. So anyway, these processions with Krishna and Balaram, with laces, can have several people with sticks with the laces connected, and it makes a big, people want to listen then. What is this? Who are these people? What's happening? And we also in Spain too, all these places in Europe have a lot more culture. It was actually E.T. Hall, my hero, Marshall McLuhan and E.T. Hall, sociologist, cultural anthropologist. He said, American culture, United States culture, right? Because Mexico is also a part of America. You say, well, I'm an American, so somebody from Argentina will say, I'm also an American. Why do you think that the United States is the only country in America? Yeah. I saw a statistic recently. What percentage of the world military budget do you think is American? Out of 100% of the world military budget, what percentage of it's American? I think I heard 40, 40%. Yeah. Then after that, Russia comes in with like 12% and China with 10%. So yeah, still the imperial, kingdom. So anyway, United States, according to him, is predominated by Northern German consciousness. Okay, in Northern Germany, how cold is it in the winter? Very cold. Yeah. Down to freezing. Yeah. Below freezing. How many degrees centigrade below freezing? Yeah. Yeah, in northern Germany, a normal day will be minus 30 degrees centigrade. A cold day will be minus 50. Exposed flesh freezes in 45 seconds. Exposed flesh freezes in 60 seconds. See, they tell you how much time you got your gloves out of your hands and stuff, you know. So, nature is our friend. No, nature is our, you know, and how are we going to dominate her? It has to be iron tools, iron, you know, everything. So when these guys came to North America, the indigenous people were looking at them and saying, "Oh, they have an iron horse." The railroad was the iron horse. And how do they communicate? With the talking wire. You know? So very, very predominated by metal culture. Other cultures very predominated by ceramics and you know, herbs and very different flowers and these kind of things. You know? But that's because of where they're born. They're born in a hellish condition. You know? People's perception of space. If you an Arab, traditional Arab, when he's moving fast, he has right to more space. You got to step back. You got, you know, that's the cultural perception. And they go from here to there. Why? Because in the desert, there's an oasis here, there's an oasis there, and you have to go from here to there, or you die. So it's like. But if you're in Spain, you can kind of, or Italy, you know, kind of take your time and wander off down this road and see what's there and come back. And even at night, you can even just sit under a tree and, you know, with your friends and kind of wrap up in a blanket. And, you know, it's just very different, you know, ambience, you know, perception like that. You know. So preaching in North America, then what happened? Then the church was, they had, you know, statues of the Virgin Mary, statues of St. Francis, the relics of St. Agnes, her bones, all this kind of stuff being revered. So the Protestants came along, and they were completely German, Northern German. Religion had to be simple, straight, mechanical, no worship of saints. Huh? Unchangeable, yeah, identical every step. So they put the relics of the saints on the floor so everybody would walk on them, you know, and they became very, very impersonal, you know, scientific, methodistic type like that. So North America, that's the way everything is, you know? And so people just don't, you know, it's hard. In that respect, it's hard to preach Krishna consciousness here. You know, other places people just, you have your icons, you have your, in the veneration of the holy name, you have saints, you know, like that. You have your bishops. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So much easier to communicate our message. Yeah. Same way too in Japan, because before when I joined, they would open the curtains and the deity's plates would still be on the altar. You wouldn't take them off, and actually it was very enlivening to look and see, like, you know, the beauty and the opulence of the offering. It was very nice. You know? But somehow or other we started taking it off so nobody could see the offering. You know? Yeah. Although for Janmashtami and big festivals we leave it all there, right? So everybody can see it. You know? So Prabhupada said right from the beginning in Japan they should never show the offering to the people because they would think, oh, this is just some sentimental, you know, superstitious thing, because they're steeped in this impersonal idea. And Buddha can't eat. You can't offer food to Buddha. Buddha's an idea or something. Yeah? So here we see, yes, that everything is full of all kinds of personal paraphernalia with garlands. And what does it says here? When the night had finally passed and the sun rose up again from the water, it's nice, huh? Where does the sun come from? Yeah, he's not existing in some impersonal space. He comes out of the water like that. It's a much more pleasant ways to live, you know. Kangsa, yeah, okay, my God. Yeah. So I have conjunctivitis. It's very hard to read here. Kangsa, when it set about, the water out, set about arranging the grand wrestling festival. Kangsa's men performed the ritual worship of the wrestling arena, sounded their drums and other instruments, and decorated the viewing galleries with garlands, flags, and ribbons and arches. Okay, I read it. I can't read it. Yeah. Yeah. The city dwellers and residents. Yeah.
The city dwellers and residents of the outlying districts, led by the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, came and sat down comfortably in the galleries. Surrounded by his ministers, Kamsa took his seat on the imperial dais. But even as he sat amidst his various provincial rulers, his heart trembled.
Wow.
When the musical instrument loudly played in the rhythmic meters appropriate for wrestling matches, the lavishly ornamented wrestlers proudly entered the arena with their coaches and sat down.
Yeah. Their coaches and sat down. It's very interesting, no? Yeah, yeah. Because was talking about different castes and orders of life and everything arranged, and then everybody is so potent. Not just only the paraphernalia is very personal. I mean, sometimes you go to a church. What is this? A square box like that. Jehovah's Witnesses also totally against idolatry. So there's no cross, anything. It's just like a square kind of box like that and stuff, and it's very sterilizing. But you come here, and all the shapes create different kinds of reactions. All the paraphernalia, all the elephant, the giant flower vases, the bouquets, create a reaction. But then beyond that, we also have the social science, right? Naturally there are Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. So people coming in, you have university professors, receiving the product. Here's the dean of, University of Houston came today. Dean, what's his name? Forgot, so and so, and of course, call it the Archbishop. No, what is it? Houston. There's a cardinal here. Cardinal. In the Catholic Church, the guy in charge is the Pope, right? Under him, there's the cardinals, and one of them becomes Pope like that. And they're in charge of, usually have different geographic, like GBC very much, the portfolios, they have different geographic regions. So, and then there's a bishop. Bishop is basically a sannyasi, how it's described. But then different places, there are sannyasis, bishops in charge of those areas. If it's bigger, it's an archbishop like that. Then you have a priest who's in charge of one temple. So Houston merits a cardinal. And one time we went to a program at the medical center, and he was giving a thing about spirituality and medicine like that. The whole presentation was full of people like that. And when I left here to go to Mexico, I sat down on my seat, and there was a seat in between the one girl. And after some time, she said, "Are you finished with your prayers?" I said, "Well, yeah." So she had all these questions. She'd just been staying here some time like that. And then it turned out that her mother's brother was the cardinal of Houston. So I gave her a light of the Bhagavatam like that, and she said, "I'll read it. I'll show it to my uncle." So who knows what's going to happen? These guys are sincere in various degrees. They may have to confess that actually, probably A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami is right, but don't tell anybody. I'm the cardinal, like that. Yeah. So what to speak of the physical environment? The social environment is even more potent in creating a spiritual atmosphere or destroying a spiritual atmosphere, right? So everybody had their position, their reception, the consciousness was there. Okay. Then what happens? Enthused by then the proper music, and he's explained the rhythms and everything else. So this atmosphere is just like unbelievable. The intensity of the sound, the rhythm, the meter, everything else. And again, different talas are for different events, like waking up in the morning, calming down. And now it's a wrestling tala. It's like something everybody just wants to go fighting. Yeah. Okay. So all the wrestlers are enlivened. They're well dressed. Now what happens next? Yeah. Okay. Okay. with great alacrity. Yeah.
Then Maharaj and the other cohorts, surrounded by the king of the soldiers, presented him with their offerings and took their seats in one of the galleries.
Okay. Purport, yes. Yeah.
According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the word Sama Uta indicates the king Kamsa respectfully called the leaders of the Praja forward so that they could make their offerings to the central government. According to the morning off and once as well. Thus, Kansa delegated some coward men to go look for them and advise them to behave properly and come back to the wrestling arena. The Acharya also stated that the reason none and other coward men sat in the gallery was that they could not find any sitting place on the royal dais.
Die.
And the purport of thus and the purport of the number 7 divine grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami to the 10th canto 42nd chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Breaking of the Sacrificial Vow.
Jai. Hare Krishna. Like that. So any comments?
Just interesting that Kamsa is pointing out that the boys must be afraid of him.
Well, the cowherd man.
Lord Krishna and Balaram, because they did something, they broke the law.
Oh, they were bad.
So
They're bad.
publicly acknowledging they must be afraid of him. Please go bring them.
Yeah.
Tell them it's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
He's going to kill them anyway.
Yeah. But no, but internally he's terrified, right?
Yeah, he's trying to make he's pumping himself up.
Yeah. Wow.
That's
Yeah.
fantasy.
Yeah. Wow. They're not bad boys. They're not bad boys.
They've
Yeah.
been trying to kill him their entire life, but they're not bad boys.
I mean, there's a lot of things going on behind the scene here, like that. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. No, it's the 10th canto means you have to be able to, as it were, immerse yourself in everything that's happening, to really connect with it. And again, our education is totally linear. We're trained to understand grammar, everything else, one thing after another, like that and stuff. And if you can keep a couple parallel lines or cross them or something, So our intelligence is very, very mechanistic. Our whole culture is like that. We present things like that. We organize them like that. We can't see larger patterns which are integrated with each other and so on. Difficult for us. And so the 10th canto is coming to the point where your whole soul, which is very sophisticated, right? Very capable, to appreciate this, can enter into it and begin to appreciate a little bit, At least you can find your place in this whole thing, right? Yeah, find your place, It's like Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd boys and everybody else, cowherd men came in, and they couldn't find a place in the dais, They're, what is it? Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva are, what are they? How would you call it? Because their father is Ugrasena? Okay. Yeah. And then and he had 2 wives, and one was a Vaishya girl, and one was a Kshatriya. And from Vaishya lady, he got Nanda Maharaj, another one like that. So actually, there's no word for it in English like that. Half brothers. I guess they would be half brothers. Yeah, that's what they would be in English. Half brothers and so on. Yeah. So he is he's a son. He was a son of Maharaj Ugrasen. Yeah. Maharaj Surasen. Surasen. Yeah, because Ugrasen is the father of Kamsa, no? Yeah, okay, so he's Maharaj Surasena. Yeah. So he's very, very respectable person. There's no place for them. So they just took their place in the gallery like that. Yeah. So now everybody's going to wonder what's going to happen next. And then Krishna and Balaram are what's it called? Acting in an impudent fashion, break the bow, and now they're just, when they're supposed to be there, they're wandering around buying more cotton candy, going on rides. Well, of course, it's a whole another Krishna book. What did Krishna and Balaram do when they weren't there? Oh, they didn't do anything important. No, they were doing things that were probably, they're full of all kinds of intensity and meaning and relating to so many different people like that and so on. So how many other stories are there? They're mentioning that was it Jayananda told us that Prabhupada said, if you just go on chanting Hare Krishna, you'll see pastimes you never read in any of my books, and so on. Yeah, so it's there. But so chanting Hare Krishna is good to distinguish matter from spirit. right? Maya from Krishna, Hare Krishna. But also, once we become liberated, we don't give up the Maha Mantra then. Other names of God are useful for that, but the Maha Mantra will take you all the way to Goloka. Because then you got to distinguish your place in the spiritual world, right? So many things. When you go to Vrindavan, there's just so many things happening. People saying hello to you, everything else. And it's just like, Hare Krishna. You find, okay, this is what I should be doing here, right? What is my position in all this opulence and everything else? Yeah. So the same way this arena is, I guess that hasn't happened yet, but it'll describe that when Krishna entered the arena, everybody saw him differently. How did the common people see Krishna and Balaram when they came in? This kind of the knuckleheads, the gross people. They saw them as incompetent fools. They think, what are these guys coming here for? They're going to get killed, Yeah, and the young girls saw them as, yeah. And Mother Devaki saw Krishna as her little boy, yeah. So everybody had a different reaction. The wrestlers saw Krishna and Balaram as, I think maybe it was like thunderbolts or something like that. And Kamsa saw them as, yeah. But he was still thinking, I can somehow or other I can beat the system, and I can kill death, right? Yeah, somehow or other I can kill death personified and live forever. That's what materialists think. It's unbelievable. It's one thing after another. We're mentioning all these new, we discovered radar. Wow. We discovered electricity. Wow. We discovered radio communication. Wow. We discovered atomic energy. Wow. But it's been no big deal, for the past 50 years or something. Well, maybe not that. Well, yeah, maybe that much. Pretty much after World War II, it all kind of stopped. Yeah, kind of stopped. The big things. And they've been refining it. But now I'm reading the next thing is monatomic gold. You haven't heard about the next big. There's somehow or other you taking gold, and some process then fractures it, and the gold forms instead of crystals into strings, like that, and it turns into a powder, like that. This is the rumor, and apparently from some authentic scientific sources are researching it from different perspectives. And now they're relating it to strange things in the Egyptian scriptures and the Bible about, this and that. And it becomes super heavy at one temperature, becomes super light at another, and disappears at another, and comes back. And apparently so. Now a new mystical power. With this you can go faster than the speed of light, and you can levitate, and you can, longevity. The king would eat it and stuff, and the Egyptian things. Okay, aha! Now we've discovered. Because we were destroying the world, right? The whole world's going to be destroyed. Doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, we're all going to die. But now science has given us the next tool. Now we'll make everything perfect and we'll live forever. And the people who are talking about this, and these media people, you hear them talking about it. Guys are going back to these Egyptian descriptions in the Bible and finding the same kind of the powder was there and this and that. Manna, right? The manna. Everybody was fasting a certain day, and the manna is describing, it ends up being the same kind of thing they're talking about there. And he says, and of course this came from God or the gods or whatever, but it's just like they didn't know anything. We know now that there are no God or gods, but you can see exactly this attitude, that ultimately there's nobody in control. This is karma mimamsa, right? Nobody's in control. And by sufficient pious activities or using your sharp intelligence, you can manipulate the rules and you can become God, right? You can conquer everybody else and so on. Why worship God? You are God. Become what you can become, right? No? Religion has blinded you. Religion has made you a fool. Like that. That's it. Yes. You can have it all like that. Yeah. At least you should try. So Kamsa, even though internally he's terrified, he's not quite sure, but to the very end, Krishna's giving him some like that he can do it, yeah. And like you're saying, externally he's acting, he's putting on this big buffoonery, Don't worry, I'm not disturbed with the boys. They're not bad boys. And also, I think the whole point too is to get Nanda and everybody else closer so he can control them. You know, like he's going to arrest them, and they should be killed and everything else at some point. You know, yes. So Kamsa is kind of like, what is Kamsa? Is he who's Duryodhana is offense personified. Duryodhana is offense personified. And Kamsa also something. Who was he in his previous life?
Well, he was the offspring of a demon.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Kamsa. And this, in the yeah, but it's, yeah. His father, yeah. 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 Like his father at all. Yeah. Devaki, it means worshipable by the devas. Yeah, worshipable by the devas. Yeah. In his previous life, he was Kalanemi. Yeah. And it describes one time that Vishnu was killing all the demons, and there was one demon Kalanemi who was riding a lion. His carrier was this ferocious lion. He was killed by Vishnu. And I think it was Narada Muni informed him in your previous life who he was, and he was killed by Vishnu. Okay, so he's going to try and kill me again. Yeah. And who was Jarasandha? Jarasandha in his previous life was Kamsa's father-in-law. Yeah. Huh? Viprachiti. Yeah. These are all big demons. Yeah. And they were being defeated by the demigods in a fair fight. So they escaped. They made it out before they were captured. And then they all took birth. Yeah. On Bhumandala. Yeah, they're kind of hiding out here. They couldn't catch them, couldn't find them. And of course, if the demigods are going to, try and deal with them, they have to come down to Bhumandala also, which means they'll lose their superpowers. They'll lose their superpowers. Yeah. But Vishnu said, "Okay, you got to do it and help me." So the demigods all took birth as Surya took birth as Karna. Yeah, the most generous man who ever lived. Indra took birth as. Okay, who else do we have? Anybody else floating around? I can't have anybody else. Yeah. He was. Yeah. They incarnated one after another. Yeah, and the Yamaraj. Yudhisthira. Yeah. And then the Ashwini Kumars. Huh? Sahadev, yeah. Anybody else you can think of here? Vaya Devatas. Oh yeah, the Vasus. Yeah. Bhishma. And also Uddhava too. Uddhava was also a Vasu, wasn't he? In previous life? Described like that. Yeah. So it wasn't ordinary time. It's kind of like Iskcon. Like that. Prabhupada was saying, yeah. If you knew who these people were, and it's not someone, an acharya like Prabhupada, not coming alone. Not coming alone. Yeah. I remember when Tamal Krishnamurti left his body, I was in India, and we were just leaving from Delhi, and there was this runner across the news, two Pradhan devotees from Iskcon died in an auto accident near Mayapur. There was no news who it was or anything else. So we got in the train, and by the time we got to Calcutta, and the news was there, and the first thing I thought when I heard this was my spontaneous reaction was, Prabhupada, how could you take him like that, And Prabhupada's reaction was, I left him for as long as I could. If you didn't take advantage of him, it was your fault. I know two more people had exactly the same experience and reaction like that, and so on. Yeah. So it's not, we become more purified, begin to realize these are not ordinary people. And this is, in some ways, is difficult for preaching because you're associating with so many elevated people, you don't really realize how stupid people on the outside can be. Maybe if you're out there, you begin to realize that, the people, really in different modes of nature and stuff. And we really have something to offer them. You think that the whole modern world creates this ambience of, I'm okay, you're okay, how are you? I'm fine, how are you? One time big program in Guayaquil, because if you say you're not good, everybody go. When as soon as there's blood, everybody goes for the the sharks all go for the blood. So if you're not happy, then everybody, goes for you. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm God. I'm happy. Yeah, yeah. So what we were in Guayaquil in Ecuador, on the coast there. Somebody arranged a program. It was like some higher. It was a professional education place. And about 400 people there. And somehow or other, I just asked the question, how many people here are suffering? And about half the people just raised their hand. And I was shocked, And they were looking at each other, and they were all shocked, And then after they all looked around, about 30% more raised their hand like that. And there were many people, I don't think they were happy, but they were just damned and determined they weren't going to admit they weren't happy, or else they didn't understand the question like that, huh? Yeah. But it was amazing, Everybody, because everybody puts on this, this appearance, You have a good-looking car, you have a good-looking family, you have a good-looking clothes, you have, everything else. I have all the accoutrements of happiness, But behind it, one time we were walking along the side of a road. It was just like a freeway and a highway type thing. And I looked down, I was shocked. There was this unlimited number of cigarette butts. It's like, what is this? People must have been throwing, I don't know, out the window or something, I don't think they were just like coming and dropping them there. But it was just like years of just like people just like, and why do you take tobacco? Because you're happy? There, one devotee, he actually was working with a stop smoking company. It was a very effective process. What they discovered was that people didn't want to stop smoking, because if they wanted to, they could do it. The process was very good, But in the end, because it satisfied some kind of necessities, And he asked people, why do you smoke? Everybody else would just say, well, it's like sophisticated, it relaxes me, go for it, so on. But just talking to people, they actually admitted it didn't do any of those things. They felt dirty afterwards, and didn't relax them. It was just like kind of made them so stupid they couldn't see their faults and stuff, So even just intellectually, appreciating that all this paraphernalia you're using is covering up, tremendous anxiety, tremendous distress. And of course, Kangsa is the real example here. Kangsa has it all, right? He's the flatterers, money, wealth, fame, everything else. He's practically speaking, he's the emperor of the world, right? I guess who's his father-in-law? Jarasandha is more powerful from him, but it seems that Jarasandha is kind of like this, kind of backing off and letting Kangsa conquer everything. Kangsa made alliances with who? It says earlier, he made himself the most powerful within the tract of land of the Barsha, which of course was ruling the whole earth. Bonasura, demon Bana, demon, all these different demons, they're all his associates, And which means,
The demon side of the demons that he came from, he said it, does he more or less made alliances with them, whereas he conquered the shapeshifters?
the Rakshasas,
Yeah.
I guess they weren't involved. Most of them had already incarnated, I guess, here and stuff. Yeah. So because that was the whole point. Because they had the higher planetary systems are based upon Bhumandala. So it's like that's down. You get a beautiful, what's it called, the Lusitania or the what's the other one there sunk the Titanic, beautiful ships with decks and swimming pools and everything else, but down below in the pit there's guys shoveling coal into the things like that. It's like you say, it's like heaven and hell, all in one thing there. You got the Indra and you got everybody down below, So unless people are doing sacrifices from Bhumandala, the Devatas start to run out of juice and stuff. And so when somebody becomes the master of Bhumandala, even the demigods start to have, be influenced by it. And so on. So there's a connection, But he was making alliances with all these powerful demons. It goes to the list. And also the wrestlers are also mentioned. He also took them on board. So who's going to make an alliance with some idiot, some inferior guy? Nobody. If you're a demon, you make alliances with powerful people. So it means that Kangsa must himself have been a very, very powerful guy. Practically speaking, with Jarasandha backing him up, the most powerful person running around like that, and so on. Yes. And he was terrified. Yeah, internally. But even still, right? you see this reincarnation. You look on the YouTube. There's so much stuff about reincarnation now. Apparently it's scientific. Reasonable scientific evidence to merit more investigation. Right? We haven't proven it, but we've proven it scientifically. But we've shown that definitely. I think it's a 0.01 level of significance. That this data we got from this experiment on reincarnation could have occurred one time in 100. It's 0.01 level of, when it becomes 0.001 one time in 1,000, then we consider what's a proof. Because you can't prove anything by science. Science is rational empiricism. You can't prove anything, But you can say, well, it's like probable. We've established with the probability of one in 100,000 that all swans are white. And we've seen 10,000 swans, and every single one of them is white. Therefore, the probability is the next swan will be. Therefore, this is a scientific law. All swans are white, but it's not. You can't prove it by inductive method. They use this example because when they went to Australia, the next swan they saw was black. So one black swan blows away the entire law like that. It's a whole way. It's also just a whole argument about well, we don't believe in the faith-based traditions. Okay, something there, we'll give them some money. But science is not based upon blind faith. Science is based upon right. Mathematics, right? And just to look at mathematics, see, if you look at the definition of the word, there's no clear definition of what it is, even like that. Logic, mathematics, but how much of mathematics, scientific mathematics, is based upon Euclidean geometry? The whole number system is actually generated from Euclidean geometry, and Euclidean geometry starts with Euclidean geometry. Euclid's principles. He starts with. Before that, he starts with basic postulates or axioms, same thing. And these are the things that he just says, a point is this, a line is this, a square is this. Where do those come from? Shh, don't ask that question. They are postulates. You have to accept these. Why do I have to accept those? Because this is our religion. So it's just very simple. These arguments, and people can run. Prabhupada says, I know logical judo. He says, I find their weak spot, and I keep beating on that until they die. But it's a fact. You keep beating on this, they'll try and cover it up again and again. Galileo and people like this who were there in the beginning, they say we accept these things because they feel right. So the Vedas say ultimately everything is rasa. Taste, like that. So so the definition of a point, what is the definition of a point? It's that which has no extension. It has no length, it has no width, it has no breadth, it has no weight, it has no color, it has no mother, it has no father, it has no bank account, it has no electronic footprint, Neti. So that's Euclid's first definition of, it's not this, not this, not this. So Vedic philosophy, that's one principle, it's one idea, And from that, then we develop, our whole way of organizing reality, using geometry for our flow charts, for our, we call it our administrative orders, all this kind of stuff. Yes. But here, we're learning the exact opposite, to come out of all of this, go through it, go backwards. And Sankhya, the scholars say it's the basis of all the Vedas, but it's, maybe we might disagree with that. But our point is that by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, right, then we can enter into these things and appreciate them even without fully becoming detached, deeply. But he can lift us up and let us appreciate them, And then we can go back and work on all these different attachments we have, attachments to the earth, attachment to breathing, attachment to thinking, along the way. If you become if you're interested, you can stop off along the way and experience different things. It describes in the second canto, right? this and that. But the recommendation is just finish it off as quick as possible and go back to Goloka, right? So after this class, there'll be some free Kool-Aid. Anybody wants to take the Kool-Aid and chant Hare Krishna? Yeah. Okay, yeah, we're following you. Yeah, yeah. But if we have some work here, okay, then we become attached to our vehicle and do the job. You know, when you drive a car, you got to become attached to it, right? Because you can't do it. You got to enter into it and associate. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So I guess tomorrow, then somebody. I was just going to give class tonight. And I didn't know that. We've been traveling for 10 weeks. We took off. We left Murfreesboro. That was bizarre in itself. That's a whole 5 minutes just to explain getting out of town in Murfreesboro. Greyhound, Boutique Airlines, unbelievable. So fun. Yeah. Yeah. When you say omens, but it's just that, if you hear a certain kind of sound, it's an omen that a fire truck is coming, right? like an omen. Yeah. The world is personal. The world's connected. Things are happening, right? So if a certain thing shows up, that's because there are certain reactions, that are causing it to happen. It's an indication. Yeah. So they're real. They exist. There are probably even mentions one place a book of omens. I think it's in the Nectar of Devotion or the Krishna book or something. If you go out, and he describes it. If you go out and see a man carrying a bucket full of water or something, it's auspicious. Yeah. Right? Yeah. There's this indication. Yeah. And again, certain physical features. I mean, some omen may happen just for a moment, like meteorites falling or that, or it may go on for for some number of years. Like you have somebody looks at you and tells you, oh, you have this kind of reaction. People deal with you like this. You have influence with people and everything else. And they come and look at you and say, you don't have the influence anymore, do you? You say, well, no, yeah. Just look at your features change and stuff. Was this called physiognomy? Yeah. And just looking at Sukadeva Goswami, all the sages stood up, right? Paid their obeisances. Yeah. You don't have to. Somebody. I saw a statue of Lord Chaitanya one time. It was just tall. And a person comes in like that. It's just tall, fine, delicate features. We met the poet laureate for Chile, Raul Zurita. He did maybe the first did the first really good translation of Hamlet into Spanish, which is not a light work. And he Hamlet into Spanish. Yeah. And we do Hamlet and Arjuna, so he was there and he was asking so many questions. Nice person. But when the guy is looking at you, you feel like anything you can possibly do will occupy maybe 70% of his intelligence. And he's just like, so automatically just the features and everything else. And then the speech, of course, reveals even more subtle things. And the Brahmanas can feel the subtle atmosphere, the sound that's going on like that now. Talking about now, again, the other things you're seeing is that Wi-Fi causes degradation is what in the ovaries, right? And some of the research now is all this Wi-Fi is in the schools and stuff, and these young girls are having bad reaction from it in genetics and stuff. What to speak of embryos? So why not your pineal gland? Supposedly, about proper conditions, you start growing piezoelectric crystals, which respond to electricity. So all these indications are there, and somebody else is running around feeling like, get out of here. I know devotees, they were invited to do a puppet show at this bar when it was opening up before they were devotees, and he told me they started feeling really weird, and they got out, and the news next day the big brawl broke out, and people were smashed up, and one guy in the hospital. And you can feel it, you just feel like, walk into a room, it's just like, yeah. Okay, so Prabhupada ki jai. Now I know there's going to be an artik. It's an omen. The curtain opened, it's an omen. Right?